Hello, happy Friday. Welcome to My Left Ear. I'm Carrie Freeman, the writer, producer, director of My Left Ear. I like to say that. Makes me feel good. It is July 22nd, the day after the most recent January 6th hearings. And this is a left-leaning YouTube channel. I include some other things, and there is a Patreon attached to this with my name. All information is in the community section or it's down below. So take a look at community for information as my email and all kinds of things. This is for entertainment purposes only, must say that. And if you enjoy, I always forget to ask, and I notice I watch other people and they all are really good about asking, and I always forget. But if you like the channel, would you please like and subscribe? Because as everybody on the web tells you, it matters, okay? All right, so Thursday, prime time, January 6th committee last night. I think somebody said 9th, but I believe it was the 8th hearing. And accordingly, I don't think there's anything more for us till August or September, but we'll see. Surprises happen, right? This meeting last night, has been all over the news with all kinds of commentary. I don't know how much I can add other than, it's a crescendo of awful news for Donald Trump. There's no doubt now about what he did, what he arranged, and who he is. Who he is. I just find it so, well, first of all, I said this before and I'm gonna say it again. My left ear doesn't believe for a minute he's gonna be able to run for president in 24. Okay, that said, he's talking about it. He's got everybody worked up. People are writing articles about it. But wouldn't it be weird on the campaign trail to say, yes, I arranged a coup. I tried to destroy the United States and democracy, and I'm running again. I don't know. It's just the craziest thing. And I guess the founding fathers didn't think ahead to this kind of stuff. I guess how could they? But my left ear, let's see if any of you agree with me or disagree with me. If you disagree with me, just don't be nasty, okay? I thought the energy was odd last night. It felt a little off to me. I'm not sure what I was picking up. It wasn't that I was picking up anything from Liz Cheney or Adam or the congresswoman from Virginia. There was just something about the testimony and the personalities. I just couldn't put my finger on it, but here's where I'm going to just sound maybe nuts. It was kind of lackluster for me. Is that shocking, or did anybody else feel the same way? Maybe, I'm desensitized to all the information and truths. That's a possibility. Now, these hearings have been brilliant. And I think one of the most brilliant things that happened was that they brought in a veteran news producer who I think probably really made a difference. We don't hear too much, but I can see the markings of good production here. Now, I'm going to sound like an awful person, but I'm just going to share it with you, okay? The congresswoman from Virginia, my private wish is that she would have been a little more grounded and confident, a little more forceful in her vocal projection, because honestly, all of that matters. So for me, the energy sunk when she was talking, and asking questions. And let me just say that she seems like a wonderful person, and she's a patriot, and I'm sure she's been working hard for weeks and weeks and weeks. So I'm not slamming her personally, but others that have participated, questioned, and did this and read off the teleprompter they were better than she was. Her reading off the teleprompter was very weak. I, in my past history, have read off teleprompters many times when I've helped with rehearsals on big shows. I don't think it's that hard to do, but maybe because they make the font really big. But at any rate, when she was a part of the proceedings, I felt my energy drop, and I felt the room's energy drop. But God bless her, because she's doing the right thing. But I just needed to be honest with you. Now, Pottinger, Matt Pottinger, and I hope it's not Pottinger. I think it's Pottinger. Did he strike you as like odd? He struck me as, even though he was there to cooperate, he struck me as sort of defiant, kind of a big ego, and wanted to make it very clear that he was proud of some of Trump's accomplishments. And it's as if, even though he quit, that he took Donald Trump very seriously, like a lot of educated people did or do. So, okay, Pottinger. And then I'm glad he spoke. I mean, I'm glad he showed up. I'm glad he spoke and told the truth. I'm just giving you like a different point of view today than what you're hearing. It's very personal, okay? I'm sharing very personal with you. Sarah Matthews. Again, I'm being kind of critical. Let's see if any of you agree with me. I found Sarah Matthews to be cold and unsympathetic, and like Pottinger, she really needed to establish herself as a lifelong Republican. When it got to talking that Kayleigh McEnerney they had worked together before and brought her into the White House, I just flipped off, because any mention of Kayleigh McEnerney, I get kind of nauseous, because she was such a liar and a terrible press secretary. So I checked out. I was like, I don't care about Sarah Matthews. She did get nasty texts. I don't think that should happen. I don't think that she should be in danger, or Pottinger, or anybody that testifies. But I'm just sharing this with you, okay? God knows the feedback I'm going to get. Still, she testified. It's good. And maybe I'm being nitpicky. I'm still trying to figure out what was off for me about last night. So far, I haven't heard anybody else say it, so maybe it's just me, my friends. Humorous. The footage of Josh Hawley with his fist pump and then running from the insurrectionists, running. They got all worked up, when he did that famous, fist pump, skinny little dude. And they got all worked up. And then he got scared of them. And he ran. So the footage of him running is very funny. There's just something funny about it. And today on Twitter, people had put music to the footage, and or one person did, and it was very funny. It was like the footage of him running, and then one music thing was "Staying Alive." It was just so hilariously funny, and I think he's toast. He did run to Fox Television after the hearing. He ran to Fox, but he was laughed at, if you noticed, and he will lose in Missouri. How he ever beat Claire McCaskill is mind-blowing, right? She's quite wonderful, Claire McCaskill. And I loved Liz Cheney's closing. I could really listen a lot to Liz Cheney. There's something about the clarity in how she speaks. It's very effective. Her pauses, her intonation, all of this. And this sort of maybe even deadpan delivery sometimes. And I don't have the exact quote, but she was talking about Cassidy Hutchinson, who didn't present with any ego, just the facts, didn't claim herself a lifelong Republican. Of course she's a Republican if she was working in that administration. I liked her. I thought she did a fabulous job. But Liz Cheney was saying nice things about Cassidy and her example of how she showed up, and then referring to old white men in the legislature who ran away from testifying, and yet this 25-year-old girl showed up. And Liz, you might Google it, Liz's line was perfect, it was seamless, and it was a great dig to these old white men. Lawrence Tribe, the esteemed constitutional professor, etc., I think he's retired now, said the most chilling evidence at the J6 hearing last night, members of VP Pence's security detail calling their loved ones to say goodbye because they were starting to fear for their own lives. And this was while Trump egged the mob on and refused to call them off. So those Secret Service guys thought, well, this is the end. We're not going to survive this. And we're calling their families. Really, I don't think we can imagine how terrible this was to be in the middle of it. Can't imagine. Now I want to remind you of something. I believe the last My Left Ear show, I said, my left ear said that my runes asked if Merrick Garland would pick up speed in the next 30 days. And he did. In that, he went very public, verbally, with his intentions. Now, probably it was forced because he's been under so much criticism, but it's good. He made it crystal clear. And it sounded to me like no one is going to be given a pass here. Nobody. We just don't know the when. So I did 3 or 4 runes today for you guys, and I did do Ukraine. I'm going to get right to it in a minute. Will Garlan'd act in the next 30 days? Now, I'm just going to tell you that looking at these runes, I want to say not likely. But it doesn't mean he's not going to act. I'm just saying in the next 30 days. I was trying to get a snapshot there. So I got the rune of Constraint, and I'll hold it up for a second more so you can see it. And it says there's a lesson here in dealing with severe constraint. And it represents obstacles that we can create for ourselves, as well as those we encounter in the world. So look at Garlan'd facing obstacles. Can be a difficult time. The need for restraint is unquestionable. And probably we can all agree that Merrick Garland doesn't have any trouble with restraint. Maybe too much. And it does indicate that there may be holdups and reasons to reconsider certain things. Okay, then I got journey reversed. So that's upside down, journey reversed. And it has to do with communication, union, and reunion. And it says at this time, ruptures are more likely. Desired outcomes may elude. Obstruction, disruptions, blockages, and even failures may occur, but they are rerouting opportunities. So it's not like dead in the water or anything like that. I'm just talking about what's going on right now. Because the outcome is Trump and a lot of other people are going to get indicted. So don't worry, friends. rerouting opportunities with union and reunion as the final outcome, and that's a healing. That's good. And then the last rune that Merrick Garland got was protection. Now, where is the protection? Maybe I didn't pull it. Let me just look here. Oh, there it is. Okay, I found it. That is the Rune of Protection, the final rune in the Merrick Garland question about the next 30 days. And it says the message with protection is about control of emotions. I think he has control of his emotions. The rune is about transitions, shifts in course, and an acceleration. And it says new opportunities and challenges are typical of this room. Makes me think more information is coming, and timely action and correct conduct are required. Now, those are hallmarks of Merrick Garland. So he's going to act. I want to make that very clear to you, but probably not in the next 30 days where there's an announcement. Probably not. But behind the scenes, there's new things going on that we don't know about. So I did ask that question. All right, now we're going to move on to Ukraine. And as I said before, on Tuesday, and I'm just reading this, Russian missiles struck cities and villages in eastern and southern Ukraine, hitting homes, a school, and a community center. As this happened as President Putin won strong support from Iran for his country's military operations. Then it's saying these cities that are sometimes difficult. So I'm just going to say a city in eastern Ukraine's Donetsk province, considered likely a Russian occupation target. One person was killed, 10 wounded in an airstrike that hit a 5-story apartment building. It feels like right now there's a little dip in Ukraine's energy and their fight. Believe me, it's not over. It just feels to me like there's this little dip. So I said, tell me what's going on with Ukraine in the next 6 months. I'm finding like I like to put a little time frame if I can. And I'm going to tell you up front, as I read through, my answer, my just general answer is there's no resolution before it gets better. All right. So the Rune of Constraint. This came up a lot today. Constraint. There you go. A lot. Constraint. Great teacher as bringer of pain and limitation. You are required to undergo the dark side of your passage and bring it into light. Hold on to the faith. That's the advice. Then we got movement reversed. Not great, my friends. Movement that appears to be blocked. Be certain that what you are doing is timely. And it does have a message. There are no missed opportunities. And then the last one about this question about Ukraine in the next 6 months is disruption. All right? Which could mean a lot of things. So it has to do with change, freedom, invention. These are all attributes of this particular rune. And it only has an upright position. I mean, there's no reversed in this. Looks like a giant H. It always operates through reversal. So it says, expect disruption, because this rune is the great awakener. And the form of awakening may take many, many faces. And one of them could be the onset of power, maybe such as to rip away the fabric of what you previously knew as your reality. So that could be very exciting. It says you are not without power. The will you have funded up until now provides support. And that has to do with the major attitude, grit, and determination of the Ukrainian people. Pulled another rune about Ukraine. Is there hope for Ukraine? You know, just a simple question. Is there hope? I'm turning on my little fan here. Signals. You may be concerned over what appears to be failed communication, lack of clarity in your history or present situation, may feel inhibited in accepting what is offered. There may be something that is offered Zelensky in this time. We'll see. A sense of futility may overwhelm, but remember, what's happening is timely to your process. Clean out and consider the uses of adversity. That was just the first rune. All right. Then we have separation reversed. Got a lot of reversed ones today. Separation reversed. This is not the time to be bounded by old conditioning, old authority. Consider what will benefit others and act accordingly to the light you possess now. Adaptability and skill are the methods to cultivate. And you know what? Zelensky has adaptability and skill. But you must wait for the universe to act. So there's a pause, which could feel discouraging. And it says mystically, you do without doing, and everything gets done. And that sounds odd in a defensive warlike situation. You do without doing. But I think it's about him giving himself a moment to readjust up here. And then the last one, possessions. And possessions is upright, and it's nourishment. It's a rune of fulfillment and ambition satisfied. Requires a deep probing of the meaning of profit and gain. Are the possessions you require self-rule and the growth of will? And I would say yes. They're not literally possessions. So what he's looking for, what Ukraine is looking for, is self-rule and the opportunity to grow again. My God, the rebuilding, I just can't even go there. And it says, whatever gains and good fortune, do not collapse into that success or behave recklessly. And as some people say, don't get ahead of your skis. Now, the last one, I just said, will Zelensky survive this? And I got the signals reversed, but do not worry because this has a good ending. May be concerned over the appearance of failed communication, either in your past history or present. But remember that this is timely to your process, Mr. Zelensky. A sense of futility may overwhelm him. However, and I really couldn't wait to share this with you, I got the Rune of Joy. Joy. Will Zelensky survive? Well, he's going to survive and more. This is a fruit-bearing rune. And it says, your term of travail has ended, and you have come back to yourself in some regard. He can freely accept Wunjo's blessings. Joy is Wunjo. And be carried across a gap by the will of heaven. Joyousness accompanies this rune along with new energy, which has been previously blocked. New energy. Wunjo is the rune of restoration. So this is so good about Zelensky surviving this. And the joy that came up with that question feels like it surrounds the Ukraine, even though it's very dark right now. Ukraine has to thrive, and Russia has to lose, because too many other countries would be affected otherwise. It's just much longer than we'd hope for, but I feel a little bit hopeful with some of these runes, to be honest with you. Now I'm moving on now. Tidbits. Melania lied. And what she lied about is that she just said the last couple of days she didn't know that the insurrection was going on. She was in the White House with a photographer photographing rugs. That's her story. But Stephanie Grisham, who was her assistant, who also quit over January 6th, texted her and said, you know, this is going on. Do you want to put a statement out about this? And she just wrote, no. Melania texted, no. And Stephanie Grisham tells this story. But Melania, being a true and blue Trump, just lied about it, flat out lied about it a few days ago, within the last few days. And then another piece that just made me very sad is Officer Fanone, who was injured in the Capitol, and I think he had a heart attack. He's very articulate when he's interviewed, and he's so well spoken. He's been attending the hearings, but when he left last night, he got harassed by people going to his car. He got harassed. What this man has been through, I just can't believe it. All right, we're coming now to good evidence. I don't know if you remember me telling you a story about, I was working with a young couple who had a beautiful, gorgeous baby. And when they got the baby home, there was a little gurgling or sound. So they called their pediatrician. The pediatrician said, you know, take her to the hospital. Well, she had like a broken rib, and the hospital called Child Protective Services. And it started a nightmare because the belief was this can only happen through abuse. And they had a night nurse. They had a camera. There was no indication the night nurse, but they had to let the night nurse go for appearances and for legal appearances. And so they got caught up in a legal battle, and CPS wanted to remove the baby, this little baby who was breastfeeding, from the house. And a lawyer stepped in, and they said, well, what if the grandmother comes and stays in the house? So they agreed to that, and that the baby would never be left alone with the parents. So the baby didn't have to leave the house, and mom got to breastfeed. But in this, the baby has to have an attorney in these circumstances. And they went up again, just in front of a judge several times. They were basket cases, and CPS and the baby's attorney were kind of vicious about wanting to rip this baby away from mom and dad. Now, what I can tell you is I was introduced to them through a mutual friend, a client that I work with. The couple is their next door neighbor. She said, you really need to work with Carrie on this. And so I met both of husband and wife on Zoom. I started working with Zoom, and honestly, even sometimes she'd breastfeed the baby with the blanket while we were doing sessions, and then the little darling little child would go to sleep. So in a way, I met the child. The case was dismissed. The case was dismissed. The last appearance in front of a male judge with the baby's attorney and CPS, who just wanted this baby put in foster. The judge was very neutral, and at the end he said, I'm throwing this case out, and I'm very sorry to this couple that they have been put through this. It is very obvious to me that this is a good home, and these are good people, and this baby is safe. And CPS and the lawyer tried to fight him, and he said, no, I'm dismissing this case. So this beautiful couple, they have their baby back. You know, they had their baby, but they have their baby safe. Baby's not going to be taken away. There's not going to be any surprise visits to check on them. And I got that call yesterday, and I tell you, that made me so happy, because this was a beautiful family. And Mom sent me a lot of pictures of the baby, and I can't show you them or post them, but my God, she's just like a Gerber. She is so beautiful. So I had a longer evidence story, but I'm going to be taking up too much time, so I'll save it. I'll save it for next time. And these are the quotes. And I have Ukraine in mind first. If we don't end war, war will end us. And that was written by author H.G. Wells. And then the next quote was by Bertrand Russell. War does not determine who is right, only who is left. The futility of war, right, my friends? I will let you know about my next Patreon. People are liking the stories. The next Patreon will be looking at the 5th rune, and I will have more really fun stories, and I'll announce that. I'll let you know, okay? Make peace, make memories, and stay safe, okay? And look for good evidence. I'll see you very soon. Have a great weekend, okay? Have a great weekend. There is hope. Bye-bye.